Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club. And we are here with the GT4 Championship Round 4, sponsored by Seal Oil. But we're Round 4, and we're at Cinquois. And we're taking the higher-end GT4 cars out for a championship. Your Ferraris, your Lambos, your Honda NSXs, Nissan GTRs, you know, your top-end motor, governor. And we are setting them on a championship running for 10 rounds. And here we are for round 4. I don't know where I was going with that. It's Cinquois B, and it's a 3-sprint format this round. And they've qualified for 10 minutes, and we'll soon look at that grid. And they'll just be using the racing softs today in this 3-sprint format. And the table, after 3 rounds, let's have a look at how it lies. In first place, we have old Homesick Alien on 222 points, with Talleyrand in second on 185. So there is quite a gap starting to open up to Talleyrand there. With third, Mayumi with 162 points. Shiren fourth with 126 points. Jim, hang on. Is this with St. Croix? Oh, no, sorry. Don't ignore me. That's the wrong table. Yeah. Hey, I wonder what's going to happen in these next 3 races then. Ensign, you're in the chat saying, good evening, Thingy. Don't worry about table. I got excited. I'll probably screenshot it. Let me try again. That was probably where it was. Close. Oh, is there any tables looking thing? Ooh, that looks like a table. That's GT4 after 1 round. No. After 1 round, is that it? Yeah. Aye. So, Homesick Alien's at the top of the table, we think, and Talleyrand's probably second with Mimi in third. That's all we know. That's all we need to know. I'll tell you the table afterwards. In the chat, Flashman saying evening all. Right, let's have a look at the cars then. We're at St. Croix. It's round 4. We're having 3 15-minute races. And it's been a blooming good championship so far. On pole, I spy with my little eye. It's a Ferrari. It's car 20, I think. It's Talleyrand. Why is it not showing up his name thing? How weird.
Oh, hi dear.
And Homesick Alien second. So in France, the Italians hustled the front row. The Lambo of Jocus there in third. Great qualifying. Had a strong race last time out. And now he's put the Lambo third on the grid, with fourth going to Skyjacker in the Honda. Then we have, is that fifth? Of Shiren in the Porsche. 6th going to Jim, 66 in the Aston Martin. 7th for Mayumi in the Lambo. Looks like 8th for the Baz in the Nissan. And 9th must be a Big Dan Ensenua in the Dodge Viper. 10th going to Silver Star. Yeah, get there. And then Mrs. Guesty in the Porsche. Is that 11th? I lost count. Does it matter? You've seen the grid. Let's get on with the race. I'm annoyed that I read the wrong table out.
I wasn't last.
Silverstar saying he wasn't last. And Skyjack saying, oh, hi dear. Hi, sweetie. Right then. Let's race on. Here at the Virtual Racers Club. The lights are lighting up. Let's go. So Talleyrand, a great start there, pulling away from the Alien, and Homesick Alien moving across to cover from Shiren. Lightning start. We've heard that the Porsche is absolutely stunning off the line, and there you go. It's right there in third place, jumping the Lambo and Skyjacker. And Muyumi having a good start in his Lambo as well, up into 6th place. Bazza on a good start, 7th. Jim 66 dropping a couple of places. I've heard the Aston Martin sluggish off the line, and Jim then having to fight for those places back that he lost. Mrs. Guesty having a lightning start, jumping Big Dan and Silver Star. but Silver Star fighting for that position back now around the outside in the Nissan, and he's got it now on the inside, but Mrs. Guesty holding line, and then Big Dan in the Dodge Viper dropping to the back like a brick, but it's Talleyrand that leads them away around here at the French circuit. Over the bridge he goes, and Homesick Alien looks to have pulled closer to the Ferrari ahead, and Shiren keeping them in his sights. Skyjacker meanwhile in 4th place, having to deal with the Lambo of Mayumi very close behind him. 5th, Jim's made up some positions already. Jim back into 6th place, and there he goes in the Aston 9. Mrs. Guesty as well up into 7th. There's been shenanigans, and surely Silver Star's down in 11th now with Jokers. Jokers was very high up. Oh, we'll have a quick look to see. It looks like here is where Jokers' life went to a misery on the grass, and that barrier we all love to hate, and he's got a knock on the Baz, knocking Baz down. That's how Jim got up ahead of them guys. Mrs. Guesty also getting up ahead as Jokers tries to stay out of the way, and poor Jokers there. Great qualifying, down into 10th in a sprint race. Meanwhile, Talleyrand having to deal with a lot of pressure from the Alien there, and it's Ferrari on Ferrari action here at St. Croix. Shiren dropping away a little bit, and it looks like the Honda is catching up with Shiren, with Mayumi now having to fend off Jim. Jim is on an absolute push. It's only a 15-minute race. They're on lap 1 still. It's a long piece of track here at St. Croix, and Jim in 6th place, qualified 6th, dropped to what, 8th, back into 6th, and he's on a mission here to get some scalps ahead of him, and the Lambo being 1, the Honda being 2, and I'm sure he's probably aiming for that Porsche as well. Meanwhile, Talleyrand has pulled a bit of a gap away from the Alien. His lead a little safer than it was before. Homesick Alien closing the gap as much as he can, and Shiren is right there as they complete their first lap here at St. Croix, and Skyjacker absolutely hounding Shiren ahead of him. Mayumi getting a tow, and this is a race on here. Big Dan up into 7th, remember qualifying quite far back in the Dodge, and having a terrible start, is up into 7th place, but he's gone very wide there. He's gone wide, he's got to wiggle on, and Mrs. Guesty is definitely closing the gap on Big Dan. She's up ahead of the Viper now, and it's 8th place for the little Porsche, and Big Dan trying to keep hold of a position from the Baz. And remember, Baz got jokered earlier on in the race now, and Joker back in the mix with a very fast speed in his Lambo. Remember, he qualified 3rd. He just had a knock with the barrier that put him at the back there, and now he's trying to hustle some positions back, and he's hustling, and the Baz as well has got to fight on with the Porsche, and he's through. He's had a knock with the Mrs. Guesty losing the back end of the Porsche, and she's back underway, but wow, she's lost now. Big Dan, Jokers is on the attack to the Baz, and it's a Lambo. Is showing some pure pedigree out there today here at France. What a move from Jokers there. Up to 7th now, Baz in 8th, Big Dan 9th, Mrs. Guesty losing out big time, and I don't know if it was anyone's fault, if there was contact between the Baz and herself, but it was two abrets in the corner. The Silver Star on the hunt there for any missing positions. Anyone wants to give away? It looks like a spin. It's Baz, it's the Baz. What's he done now, you ask? Let's have a look. So the Baz in amongst it with the Lambo. It's the Lambo's had a crash. He's tried to get out of the way. He's got to wiggle on, and he's lost the Nissan as Big Dan goes big guns up against the Lambo, and Mrs. Guesty barely misses Bazza as Bazza gets jokered. Everyone's getting jokered in this race. Sorry, Jokers. I'm sorry, man. But Big Dan now on the chase there for the position, and Jokers in the Lambo taking no prisoners today. And Jim, good for him with all that battling behind. It's building a big gap for him, and Mayumi now all over Shiren. Skyjacker already up and into 3rd place, and the Porsche out wide, and Mayumi's going to make his move anytime soon, surely. And he's having a look, and I bet them two have been nose to tail all the way through this race. Talleyrand again crossing the line for the 2nd time. and 2:19 from Talleyrand and a 2:18.8 from Homesick. There's nothing in between the two of them. Skyjacker gaining a position, and now Mayumi is as well. The Porsche may be quick off the line. It's just not fast in race trim, but Shiren trying to come back at Mayumi. Remember, Mayumi was suffering tyre wear in the longer races, so maybe Shiren can gain from that, but I think Shiren's tyres didn't feature too much better than them. Homesick Alien and Talleyrand still in that battle then ahead for the win, and further back then Skyjacker looking like a good for a podium as Shiren tries to fend off Mayumi, and I thought Mayumi was ahead of Shiren, so I don't know. Jim's closing in on him though. Jim's loving the action ahead of him as the Porsche holding up the Lambo, and we've seen from Jokers that Lambo's got pace today, and Shiren then trying his best to keep the Porsche ahead of Mayumi as best he can, and Mayumi now going for the outside of Shiren. Shiren playing very defensive. Will it work for him? They're both side by side going in the corner, and Mayumi just can't quite get around the Porsche there, and Shiren playing the defensive game here, and that is great for Skyjacker, and it's great for Jim. Look at how close Jim is to the action now, and Big Dan, well, there's a big gap now between Big Dan, and Big Dan is past Jokers, so Big Dan's made the move in the Dodge Viper. Mayumi again trying to go on the attack with the Porsche, and they're into the braking zone now. Barely a braking zone, not even a braking zone, but now Mayumi going high, Shiren going defensive, coming back to the racing line, but Mayumi is already on the line, and Shiren still keeps hold of the corner as Mayumi goes again up against, and we saw them two racing in the last race, and all the meantime Jim's reeling off better sectors, closing in on these two. Spicy, things are going to get juicy. Oh, it looks like Shiren made a mistake there. He's gone stayed over onto the grass, and that's let Jim through and Mayumi. Poor Shiren. Skyjacker meanwhile, has he built up a big enough gap? Because I believe the Lambo and the Aston Martin may be quicker than the Honda today, and Shiren struggling in the Porsche. Big Dan meanwhile in 7th spot with the Dodge Viper ahead of Jokers, who's very rapid, but he's prone to having a knock with a barrier. He's just gone 5 seconds faster. That's how rough his first 2 laps have been. Mrs. Guesty in 9th place with a huge gap back to the Bazinator, who's in the Nissan, and Silverstar closing in on Baz. So Baz, he's got to fight for it because his tyre wear is the 2 Nissans duking it out near the back. Come on, Silverstar, give it some grunt, lad. Talleyrand though still maintaining that lead from Old Sick Alien, and Old Sick Alien is trying his best to find a way back past the Scarlet Ferrari. We're on board now with Old Sick Alien, and can he find a way? He's going up at the inside. No, thinks better of it, just tucks in behind. This could be down to the last lap. This could be who looks after their tyres the best between the two of them. They're a mile ahead of Skyjacker. I don't think they've got to worry about Skyjacker in this race now. It's just between Ferrari and Ferrari. And it's really a staring contest. Who blinks first between Talleyrand and Homesick Alien? There's some movement further back. I spy my little eye. Jim making the move go on Mayumi, and now Jim is up and into 4th place. That Aston Martin carrying him well, but he showed it, didn't he? Showed it every round so far that the Aston Martin is good in Jim 66's hands, but just has these moments of problems. And now Mayumi and Shiren getting into a bit of tit for tat, and Robbins Racing boys, keep it civil, and Jim there just trying to clear the hazard that is Mayumi Shiren combo. When they get together, it's explosive on track, and Mayumi really getting out wide there on his Lambo. He's really trying to get a run on the Aston Martin, but he's slow on the brakes. He has to brake a little heavier than the guys around him, but Jim's gone wide there. Did he have a knock with the wall? Oh no, well Mayumi's through. He did, he had a knock with the wall. He's carrying damage, and Jim, needlessly carrying too much speed onto the straight. He was ahead easily easily. Miumi had his hands full, and now Shiren is ahead as well. Poor Jim. Big Dan then in 7th. He's no threat to Jim. He's too far back, but Jokers is always a threat to Big Dan. Mrs. Guesty looking quite comfortable, and the Nissans have blown it. They've blown their tyres, especially Bazza's. And he might worry. He might be getting silver starred pretty soon. Talleyrand's still in the lead, but Home to Alien ever closer. Every time we cut to it, this is Ferrari on Ferrari porn for you Ferrariites out there. You don't get much joy in F1, so enjoy this. I'll have a sip of me hot beverage while you get off to a bit of Ferrari on Ferrari action. And it's a JPS Ferrari now, getting the move done. It's Old Sick Alien. He's going for the move. He's had to brake, though. He's off the racing line. There's not much grip out there, and he's paid the price, but he's tried to do an undercut there underneath him. And Talleyrand, he won't fall for that. They're side by side, though, coming down the straight. It's never been closer than this, and it looks like the Aliens managed it. That radical wide move we saw, I thought he'd lost time, but he obviously got an absolute cracking run down the short straight up against Talleyrand. And Talleyrand now Talleyrand's having a look under the braking. Talleyrand's gone for an absolute late one, and it's nearly paid off. But Homesick Alien pays homage to the accurate braking place and stays ahead, as Talleyrand has to struggle a little to get his Ferrari under control. And now if these two are starting to get racy, Honda is ready to attack. And Skyjacker, remember, not too far from the Ferraris at the moment as they duke it out. How long have we been racing for? Nearly 12 minutes, my God. And it's nearly side-by-side action for the Ferraris again, coming up and along, and Talleyrand trying to get that inside line into turn 1. He's going to try and late break it, my lord, my words, and he's done it. Is it enough though? And again, it's a wrestle between the Ferraris, and Homesick Alien just about holding station there, and Talleyrand giving it big balls up against his Ferrari counterpart. Skyjacker is in 3rd, then Miumi is in 4th, ahead of Shiren. Shiren under fire from Jim. There's racing all about the business. Why is all the camera action over to one side? Crazy stuff. Jim and the Shiren up and at it. Big Dan 7th. Jokus is ahead of Bazza now. Oh, Mrs. Guesty's slipped back for some reason, and Mrs. Guesty having a cracking race in 8th place, slipping back, and it's still Homesick Alien ahead of Talleyrand, and Skyjacker holding off that podium for now. But Miumi is bringing some noise that way, but I think he might be just too much out of this one. The clock possibly, I mean, they might do a lap after this one, I'm not sure. The laps, yeah, they will. It's going to be a longer race than 15 minutes, and these two are fighting their way around. It's glorious action from the pair of them. And Skyjacker trying to creep closer to the Ferraris, hoping they still get into it, coming down into the braking zone. As Talleyrand, I keep saying that's the braking zone. It's not. It's a very fast corner. It just looks like it's going to be a braking zone. Silver Star in the chat saying, "Go Sky, go!" And oh, what was that? Talleyrand making a move on Homesick Alien as I was reading the comments. Then Talleyrand now up into 1st. Homesick Alien though going back against him. And this truly is a duke out of a duke outs here, with Talleyrand leading Homesick Alien, and it's nothing in it. Skyjacker there in 3rd, hoping more fighting happens between the two of them. Miumi looks like he's pulled away, and Shiren and Jim having a massive one. Jim sneaking his nose up the inside. Shiren just not got the grip to back it up, and Jim is through. And oof, that was close quarter racing there. Big Dan in 7th, his tyres shot, so Joker's closing the gap on Big Dan. Big Dan 7th is not secure by no means. They're coming across the line with still a minute to go. We've got a whole lap of this glorious racing still to come, and Joker's definitely could catch. Well, his tyres are going as well, and Bazza And Silverstar getting close to getting a position there away from the Baz. They've got another lap of it, and I don't know if Baz's tyres will survive. So Silverstar, every opportunity to grab that Nissan's position. Mrs. Guesty crosses the line with time to give, and that's another lap from Mrs. Guesty, and it's Talleyrand then leads this race into the final lap. And Homesick Alien only just missing the barrier there and giving Talleyrand a good half a second length. That's what she said. Skyjacker, he's just sitting in hoping those Ferraris do something silly over the course of this final lap. I don't think there's much else he can get out of this one. He's safe from Miyumi, I would say. Miyumi dealing with tyre wear and just trying to stay off of the barriers. Jim is being chased by Sharon. Sharon still feels like he could get that 5th place. Jim's pace has been very rapid throughout the race. He's had to cut through most of the field, and now Jim 66 under pressure from the Russian, whose tyres are shot. Big Dan still ahead of the Lambo. The Lambo might have ate its tyres too much to put up that final attack it needs. It just needs to find a little bit more because the Dodge is hurting. Silverstar's through. Silverstar is through past the Baz. The Baz has got no tyre whatsoever. Mrs. Guesty may even get this position as well. The Nissan has shot its tyres totally away, and he's just a lamb to the slaughter here. And here's the slaughterer, Mrs. Guesty. She's got a cleaver. I was going to say it's very close to something, but it's the meat cleaver, and she's going to bring it down on the neck of this poor lamb. Meanwhile, Talleyrand takes the win. Sorry, Homesick Alien in second. Skyjack, look, no, that wasn't enough. That's not fair. Come on. So Talleyrand leads. I know what you know, but Talleyrand then, he's built up a bit of a gap. We saw Homesick Alien going a little wide, didn't we? I don't think Homesick Alien was ever going to get back on track after that one, and it's Talleyrand brings it around the final corner to take the first win. He's turned pole into win as well, so great drive from Talleyrand. I don't know who got the fastest lap, and Talleyrand takes the win from Homesick Alien. The 2 Ferraris reign supreme, with Skyjacker taking the Honda into podium. Take a boo, my son. Mayumi grabs himself a lovely 4th place. Points, and Jim keeps that 5th from Sharon, who was fighting all the way, and Sharon comes home in 6th place, with Big Dan holding off the Lambo in 7th, and Jokers comes home in 8th. Silverstar, look at you go, lads, in 9th place, coming around the final corner. The Nissan driver car 56 in 9th spot. Silverstar grabbing a lovely handful of points here at St. Croix in the first race. Mrs. Guesty grabbing 10th place, and the Bazza in 11th. Them tyres, Baz, it's the tyres, bud. The tyres are tough. So we had Talleyrand in an exhilarating race from pole to the win, but it was not easy. Homesick Alien, is there a better one? There you go. Homesick Alien fighting him all the way, even got ahead of him at one point with a snazzy little wide move. I thought he'd messed the corner up, but he obviously had taken the wider angle to get a run down the straight. He got ahead, and but just could not maintain it. Talleyrand under braking, getting it back, and nothing given between the two of them.
Worse tyre wear than I did in the same car.
Great driving from Talleyrand and Homesick Alien. Skyjacker rounding out the podium in a fine drive. I think he's already had a win this season in the Honda, and the Honda showing a great form there, the monster Honda. Is there a better view? No. I'm just going to make you sick. So there you go. Skyjacker in 3rd, with Miyumi always there, always present, always up for a fight in 4th spot. Jim, a great drive this time round for Jim. He had a little bit of unluck. He could have possibly got a podium, if the truth be known today, with the pace of that car. And Jim then getting 5th spot, with Sharon in 6th, fighting everyone. That Porsche is lightning quick off of the line. And Big Dan fighting his way for 7th, didn't qualify too well, didn't look good on the first lap, and he dragged that Dodge Viper hissing and screaming up and into 7th spot. Great work, car 34. Jokus, a live wire today in that Lambo, and if he'd hit maybe 2 or 3 less barriers, that man definitely was on for a podium. Silver Star, what a drive for 9th place, beating out the Porsche of Mrs. Guesty and the Bazinator. So great drive from the Nissan RS Silver Star. Mrs. Guesty, I don't know what happened. She was up there in 8th, but still 10th spot, good points. And Bazza, those tyres, woes. The woes on the tyres for the Nissans. And he came home in 11th. And Silver Star in the chat saying can't understand how Bazza had so much worse tyre wear than I did in the same car. Probably because he brakes too late and he smashes that steering. I bet he's not smooth in, smooth out like you, Silver Star. Got a gentle touch about you. You're nice to your tyres. Bazza, he's probably just batters them. Locks them up in every corner. Just yanks the wheel or the controller to one side. And gets a lot of lateral sideways movement on there. And that does not help. Anyway, that was race 1. I believe they'll be lining up in that order for race 2. Let's have a look, shall we, children? Oh, no, that's the one we want. Forget about the transitions, because I'm not smooth by any long shot. I don't even know where this is going to kick me out. So I go to collection. And we're going to narrate all the way through this. Then we do that, right? And then we do that. And now close your eyes. This is a weird thing to ask you to do on a stream, but close your eyes for a minute until I say open them, because it tells you the results, and it's stupid. So close your eyes, and I'll get it underway. Right, replay, play. Right, now, yeah, they're open. Okay, let me get Schnizzle. For God's sake, you useless. Here we go for race 2. Talleyrand on a pole again with Homesick Alien chasing him down, and Skyjacker in there in 3rd. Shiren not as hot. Well, yeah, he's there going for it. And Shiren looking like he wasn't as hot at the start, but he's got himself back up into 3rd. And that Porsche really is quite rapid, but Skyjacker trying to fight him for it. But Shiren just got his nose ahead. And this time Homesick Alien all over Talleyrand early doors. He doesn't want to sit behind that Ferrari for another 15 minutes like he did previously. So Homesick Alien giving it big all balls behind Talleyrand. Shiren has got past the Honda, and Skyjacker looking this way, looking that way, any way he can to get by. Miyumi in 5th place, and Jokus up there in 6th. It's Lambo on Lambo action with Jim slipping in that Aston Martin. It's a truck off of the line. It's and Miyumi's had a nasty one. Miyumi obviously hitting that barrier, and it's Constantinaed the cars up. Joker's got through quite cleanly, and so did a Silver Star. Miyumi trying to regain composure there. He's got damage at the back, and there's more swinging and swaying of cars, and Miyumi trying to stay out of the way. And Silver Star, did he hit the barrier? He has. Silver Star's had a knock with the barrier. Jokers is up into 5th place now. It's crazy doors down here. Miyumi, his car's still limping. Big Dan now is moving up into 7th. Miyumi down is into 8th. Jim, I don't know what happened, he lifted out of the action, and now he's lost position to Big Dan as well. Miyumi now in 9th place. Bazza lost out a lot there as well. He's in 10th with Mrs. Guesty in 11th. That was crazy. Crazy, I tell you. And now Miyumi trying to find a way past Big Dan and Jim. They're sideways. It's a huge wall of car. Miyumi cannot see his way past. He's got past Big Dan, but Jim's got past Big Dan as well. Big Dan then slipping down a couple of positions there. Crazy racing here. Talleyrand is still leading. I'm sorry, there is racing all over, I know. And it looks like Skyjack is somehow getting past that. No, Shiren's still in 3rd, but Skyjacker was in 3rd for a minute. And the Lambo comes in quite late, but no, avoids the Honda. And my word, I thought Jokers had gone in late there. I thought there was no hope for it. Silver Star in 6th spot now, holding position ahead of Jim. 66 in the Aston Martin. Miyumi in 8th place. and Big Dan 9th. Bazers is in 10th, Mrs. Guesty's in 11th. Talleyrand under attack again from Homesick Alien. The Ferraris in a league of their own around this track. It's never looked this bad so far, this league. We knew the Ferraris were strong, but my word, at St. Croix, they really are opening their wings, aren't they? They really are flourishing here, and Talleyrand and Homesick Alien giving us some exhilarating racing indeed. And Shiren now is easy. Well, he was in third. Sorry, Skyjack has been trying to fight for that third back, hasn't he? And Joker's very close behind him, one to watch. Jim has got himself there in 6th. And who was he fighting? Silver Star? He wasn't. And Miyumi now coming across. Silver Star on board with Miyumi. His car's all fixed, and he's rapid in the Lambo, going into the braking zone, late braking ahead of the Nissan. The Nissan gives him a little shove mid-corner to say hello, no harm, no foul. Miyumi gets out of the corner okay, and Big Dan sneaks one past as well as Silver Star regains composure after being mugged off, and Bazza saying hello as he comes by. Wow, Bazza all over the Nissan. He likes you, Silver Star. And Mrs. Guesty up Penelope pit stop, just waiting for that testosterone to clear up a little bit ahead of her so she can nip on by. And Talleyrand still ahead of Homesick Alien. It's the Ferrari show here at St. Croix for round 4 of the VRC GT4 Championship, and it's a cracker lacquer between these two, Talleyrand and Homesick Alien, all up and in each other's business. And the Lambo has got past the Porsche now slipping back into 5th place. And Joker's, we said Joker's in the first race. I uttered the words that he probably could have got a podium today with the pace he's had in that Lambo, and he's there knocking on the door. So let's not count out Joker's here for a podium, whilst these two battle it out, and Talleyrand having to pull all the stops out to keep Old Sick Alien right behind him. Skyjacker meanwhile in 3rd, and then we have Shiren and Jokers absolutely battling it out there. Jim in 6th, Jim 66 in 6th, chasing them down, and he doesn't seem to be as fast as the cars as the first race. Now I do understand the track is a lot hotter in this middle race than it was in the first race, so tyre wear could be a huge issue, more so than the first race. And Joker's going for a move. Wow, what a place to try it. And now up the inside under braking, and that's the job done from Joker's. Absolutely glorious. It was questionable early doors as he went side by side through the twisty section, and I thought this is going to end in tears, but Joker somehow pulls it out of the bag and up and into 4th place. Now he's got to go and find a Honda, and all that time Jim's been closing the gap between them, and Jim is absolutely balls deep. He's going in. Jim Shiren has no choice about this one. It's going to happen. And Jim 66 deciding it's 6th to 5th. Big Dan in 7th, same as the first race. He's got the Baz behind him, but Baz is going to struggle with those tyres. Silver Star right up the chuff of the Baz. And Miyumi, was Miyumi down there? I thought he was ahead of the Nissan. So Miyumi somehow, I think, has slipped down even further. Miyumi driving faster than the car will let him, and he's all over the show. He's trying to get a move done on Silver Star at the moment as it cuts away from the camera, and he does around the outside. Great move from Miyumi, but I reckon he's going to sling it off again at some point because he's not having a great race for him. Silver Star in 10th, Mrs. Guesty in 11th spot, still in on the action. Look, still there. Talleyrand still leading Homesick Alien, having a look into the braking zone, nothing going, tucks back in again, and these two absolutely at it all the way around.
Good evening, Bob.
And Skyjacker is closer this race than he was before, and I think we saw the tyre wear on the Ferraris in the long races went quite quickly. Homesick Alien in the chat saying good evening, bud. Hello. just seeing some lovely demonstration of racing betwixt you and Talleyrand. And there you go again, beautiful stuff. And Homesick going for those radical race lines again. We saw what he did for him in race 1. He found a quicker way down the straight, going wider, and this time not happening for him. Silver Star saying evening, Homesick. And Talleyrand just trying his best to stay ahead of the Alien as the Alien tries to find a way past. And it's getting close in it. He wants to pull away, and it's just inch perfect driving from the pair of them. No one is giving any quarter away here in skill, style, or position. It's not even going mega defensive. It's just, I mean, he cut over then, but he went back to the racing line. He's not wiggling around. He's not trying to force Homesick to do something Homesick doesn't want to do. He's just making it awkward for where the Alien wants to put his car. Homesick Alien's decided he wants to put his car around there, and it's not going to fit. And Talleyrand just sticks to his line, knowing that he can come out. No, because Homesick Alien's now got the inside line, and he's just stolen it away. Homesick Alien putting his car, positioning, but no, Talleyrand's there again. And it's just perfect positioning from either of them. And oh, there we get a little bit of a knock there from Talleyrand as he tries to cut across. And it's still nothing in it between the two of them. Unbelievable racing there, and they were both trying to position their Ferraris to take the advantage at certain parts. And Talleyrand, I don't even think he needed to come over. I think the move was already done. I just think he probably moved over a little too much on the Alien, but I think he had the higher ground. And Talleyrand then feeling Homesick Alien's presence behind him. Shiren, meanwhile, ahead of Jokus. Where's Skyjacker's gone? Skyjacker has gone altogether. He had a terrible last lap around, a 2:36. Now he's mixing it up with Big Dan, who's lost position to Mayumi, and Bazza is up. What's going on here? So Mayumi's moved up, Big Dan, obviously, they've all moved up because Skyjacker. Mrs. Guesty's got herself ahead of Silver Star, and there has been, it was last lap carnage, was there? Did everyone have a mess then? No one seems to be carrying damage. I'm not bashing it all the way back. But Jim in 5th, Shiren 4th. Jokus said he had a chance at a podium here, but his tyres are hurting more so than the Porsche. The Porsche having a look up the inside of the Lambo, and he's gone in. There was contact, but he's made the move. And Jokus there seems to have backed off mid-corner, I think, because of the contact. Now Shiren's obviously lifting to let the Lambo through. How kind, how polite between the Lambo and the Porsche. But lifting off it there has left Shiren wide open, and Shiren's had a knock with the barrier, and Jim 66 is on the scene, and Jimbo could be getting himself a podium. Who? It's a whodunit of these three. Who's going to get that podium? And they've all driven absolutely frantically and fine this round in their vehicles, and they all deserve it. This is beautiful stuff. I know that Homesick's now ahead of Talleyrand, I've just seen, and it's a frantic, amazing battle that these two are crackingly having, but this is somehow mesmerizing here for who will get that podium position. The Baz as well. What a story of glory. He was nowhere, and now he's in 6th place. Big Dan in 7th. Skyjacker now up into 8th. Mayumi's had a slip. Mayumi, they're all over the place in this middle race. They're having an absolute nightmare. Silver Star is being closely chased by Mrs. Guesty. Mrs. Guesty on it. Look at it. That Porsche is on rails, and she's definitely trying to turn the pressure onto the Nissan now, knowing the Nissan has tyre wear problems. It's now that the Porsche is leaping into action. Homesick Alien having to defend like an absolute lion from Signore Talleyrand, and Signore Talleyrand is ready to deliver. And here he goes then, moving for the line. Ole, 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 ole. But Homesick Alien has got the measurements of him, and he sticks it right there where it needs to be. And this Ferrari on Ferrari action going all the way We are 12 and a half minutes into this sprint race, this 15-minute race. Joker's at the moment. Oh no, Joker's nearly losing the Lambo. Sharen's not close enough to make something of it. And Jim there as well. They're all struggling with those tyres. And now Sharen gets that third spot from Joker's. Oh, he's picked up damage in the Lambo. It's the last thing he needs. And it's going to be Sharen at the moment. And Jim's lost a bit of ground to the guys ahead of him. And Bazza just keeps on going like the Duracell bunny. And your wife's the electrical aid. He just keeps on cracking on. Skyjacker in 7th. Big Dan is in 8th. Silverstar is 9th ahead of Mayumi. Mayumi's tragedies just keep on getting worse and worse. He's going for a move on the Nissan, and what a nightmare of a race. And we didn't see any of him. Bless you, Mayumi. We didn't. But I mean, you're trying to drive around the corner on the marbles there. You've got to be on the racing line, bruv. And Mrs. Guesty lining up Mayumi, the Lambo, in trouble. Talleyrand is back in the lead. I'm sorry. What are we going to do? What do you want me to do? Just watch every car, every lap? It's a race. It's a cracking one. And it's racing all over the place. Sharen's in 3rd, but Joker's is still on the case. Jim's lost his puff there. I don't think he can keep up for that podium chase. And the Baz may catch Jim. Look at him reeling off his blues. Like he just don't care. His tyres are gone. Skyjacker in 7th, some way off the Baz. And there's Big Dan chasing it down, but he's kept it. Silverstar in 9th, Mayumi in 10th. He's trying to find a way past the Nissan, but there is no way past Silverstar. He is an absolute blockade. Meanwhile, out the front, Homesick and Talleyrand are duking it out. They're all crossing the line. They've all got another lap to go. And Talleyrand just ahead of Homesick Alien. These two are two absolutely cracking racers. Between the pair of them, wowzers. The Ferraris have displayed some actual loveliness for us today. Sharen there in 3rd, looking pretty safe. Joker's falling off the back of the Porsche and into Jim's mitts. And Jim's mitts are relentless. So Joker's in trouble now in the final lap. Talleyrand and Homesick Alien haven't finished racing yet. It's betwixt the two of them, and Talleyrand on the inside, Homesick going for that wide line. He could get crushed into the barrier, but Talleyrand gives plenty of space. But Talleyrand, meanwhile, gets out of the corner first, and Homesick Alien giving it big balls and alls he's got against his Ferrari counterpart. Sharen in 3rd, looking easy come, easy go, with Joker's chasing him down though. Joker's pulling him back away from the Jiminator. Bazza's there. Bazza's had problems because now Skyjacker is all up and in his business. In it, Gov. Don't want to miss these going over the line. I know we're a ways away. I want to go through the grid for freak's sake. Where was I? Baz and Skyjacker. Skyjacker then ready to get the moves on in his ear. And Skyjacker lining him up for a Butte. But there's nothing going now. Skyjacker using the grip from his tyres, which Bazza has lost altogether. And Skyjacker's trying to get the move up the inside under the braking. And it's the Honda up and into 6th place. And Bazza's tyres just say no, like the drug campaign. Big Dan in 8th. His tyres know much better. Can he catch the Baz? And then we've got Silverstar ahead of Mayumi. Mayumi's race having a tragedy. And Mrs. Guesty's been thick in the action. And there goes, oh, hang on. Jesus, it was close, right, between the two of them. So into the final corner, we have Talleyrand and Homesick Alien. And what a close fought battle between the two of them. Could have done the whole stream just watching them pair, as Talleyrand takes the checkered flag and Homesick Alien not too far behind her for 2nd place. Sharen is the podium man out of that little clan, and Jim did get Jokers in the end. So Sharen gets himself a 3rd spot. Great drive, take a boo, my son. Jim gets a great 4th, with Jokers in 5th. Skyjacker gets that last 6th place on the last lap from Bazza, who's 7th. Big Dan gets 8th, and Silverstar, look at that, 2 9s. Not bad in poker, my friend. And Mayumi in 10th, with Mrs. Guesty just always a fingertip away from the action in 11th place. So Talleyrand, that's a pair of wins, isn't it? That's double wins. How did That's great stuff from Talleyrand, but his closest competitor in the table, Homesick Alien, always there, finishing just behind. He's not managing to open up those points like he would like to. Homesick Alien, another drive, tenacious, all up and in Talleyrand's business, trying to find any way past that he can, and a highly entertaining drive from the pair of them. Sharen, what action Sharen brings in a race. The Russian sensation, that's why he is the Russian sensation. Unbelievable stuff from Sharen. Great drive for the podium. Jim, 66, and his on-off relationship with that Aston Martin. It's off at the beginning, but by the end of the race, man, it's on. Then we have Jokers. Could have been another podium, Jokers. Those tyres were not your friend, but you had some mega racing going on. Well done to the Lambo team. Skyjacker there. He was there. He was up there. I don't know what we missed. Some sort of carnage, apparently. He lost a good 16 seconds on lap 4, putting him down, I think, about 9th or something. And he's fought his way back up into 6th place. And it's still points, what it's all about. The Baz, a better drive from the first race, 7th spot, even though he lost that last position to Skyjacker. I'm sure still the bigger picture is what a race. Good race. Big Dan in 8th. And he had a steady one. And that Dodge Viper is no friend to the tyres. Silver Star, I'm sure he'll be delighted with the pair of 9s. And can he go for a quadruple of 9s? Not a quadruple, sorry, a triple of 9s. We'll have to wait and see for the 3rd race. Mayumi just wasn't his race today. Kept seeing him gain positions, lose positions. Never actually saw what happened to him. But yes, that Lambo was all over the shop. And Mrs. Guesty, steady drive. Look at the consistent lap times. Right on the edge of her competitors. Ready to leap into the action. Great drive. Right then. We'll let Mrs. Guesty cross the line. There they go. And we'll move on to the 3rd race. Yay. Right, again, you probably have to close your eyes because it'll tell you the finishing order. Now, I think for this one, where has it put me? For Pete's sake, collection. Replays. Close your eyes because this is going to be a reverse grid, I believe. That's usually how it goes. I'm pretty sure this does. Reverse grid going into race 3. Could be a rolling start. Sometimes it's not always, but it could be a rolling start. Reverse grid. But we don't want to see the order at the beginning of the replay. So close your eyes now. And now you can open them. Yep, so here we go. Ooh, rolling start with reverse grid. So I'm good sometimes. Mrs. Guesty then leads them away ahead of Mayumi. This is going to put Mayumi in a solid position here. He's very fast. Already quite a few car lengths ahead of his main rivals. So Mrs. Guesty then leads them into the first corner. Great form there. And from Mrs. Guesty, she brings it through Mayumi and nowhere near the Porsche. And then we've got a bunch here. The Dodge Viper has got Silverstar, the Nissans. He's got a pair of Nissans right up his jacksie. And Silverstar clinging on in that Nissan to the back of the Dodge Viper. And he's got Bazza all up and in his business. Behind Bazza, you can see Jokers in the Lambo, Skyjacker and Sharen. That is a scary crowd to have behind you. Look, they look like an angry mob. Look at them all. So Bazza then on the tail of the Nissan as they try and get a move on. Mayumi already up and into the lead on Mrs. Guesty. And Mayumi now wants to just bolt and look after those tyres as best he can. It's later in the day now, so the track should be cooled down a bit, and tyre wear shouldn't be as drastic as they all heavily brake into the area. And it's all about dodging that wall. And I think Mrs. Guesty had a rub, so Big Dan can get by. And yeah, no damage on the Porsche, just a slight rub, nothing more. And now we've got a three-way battle. Whoa! Silverstar and Big Dan going side by side. And then, you know, there's walls either side of you, boys. Brave racing in such close confounds. And Skyjacker right there on the action in 5th. Bazza 6th. Then we've got Jokers in 7th. We've got Talleyrand already up into 8th. He would have started last. He's got ahead of the Porsche Chiren, and Homesick Alien's trying to get one on Chiren as well. And I think we've got a Lambo in trouble ahead. That's Joker staying out of the way. He's had a moment, and he's gone to the back there. Homesick Alien is behind Talleyrand now. Talleyrand is on the move with the Nissan. He's trying to get by the Baz. Early doors, that Ferrari looks like a midget next to the Nissan. Absolutely petite as you like. And Chiren in the Porsche there, trying to get a move on the Ferrari. But the Ferrari looks like it's already through. My good golly gosh. And Chiren through as well on the Nissan. So now Homesick Alien's weaving out the way of the Baz as they come up the straight, trying to use the horsepower in that Ferrari to propel itself past the Nissan, which is a huge lump of a car, and he's just about edged it into the corner, nose first, and he's ahead of the Nissan. But luckily Talleyrand's lost position to Chiren ahead of him. Chiren and Silverstar in 5th. Chiren now in 5th as Silverstar's dropping 4th. My word, there's calamity everywhere. Everywhere you look. Big Dan's now slipped into the action with this one. Mayumi is leading with Mrs. Guesty in 2nd place. Skyjacker now in 3rd, but we've got a whole heap of cars, and I can't distinguish who's where, because Homesick Alien's 5th now ahead of Talleyrand, who's 8th, because it's just random. It's like NASCAR out there. What are they doing? Form an orderly queue. What are you all doing? And the Nissan's going bumper to bumper through the corner, and Talleyrand just wants to slip that Ferrari between the two of them. It doesn't fit. Look at him. My good golly gosh. What are you up to, Talleyrand? You're asking for trouble in the corner between two huge Nissans, and the Ferrari nips it on through, and there you can see just ahead of him Big Dan in 6th. And Homesick Alien in 5th. This is awesome stuff we're seeing out there. And I'm in the wrong camera. There we go. So Mayumi leads. See, honestly, he's in the Lambo. It's cool. It's got computer game characters on the side of it. And he's bolted. Skyjacker's got himself past Mrs. Guesty. And he's in chase for Mayumi in the race. And Mrs. Guesty in 3rd. Chiren, it's the 2 Porsches in 4th. Then it's Homesick Alien in 5th. Talleyrand has come through all of that up into 6th. Then it's the Nissan of Baza in 7th. Big Dan slipped. Big Dan slipped now. And Jim, we didn't even know where Jim was. He's suddenly made an appearance in 9th spot. And Silverstar slipped down into 10th. And Jokers has had a mare of a beginning of a race. He's miles behind as Mayumi disappears into the distance. Skyjacker sets chase, but that Honda, I just don't think he's got the pace on the Lambos or the Ferraris. The 2 Porsches racing side by side, and Chiren going in for a move on Mrs. Guesty, but Mrs. Guesty holding fire around the corner, and Mrs. Guesty there cracking on as Homesick Alien takes a look, takes a small gander, and he gets the Porsche. He gets the Porsche of Chiren. Come on, a better angle, surely. Whoa! Chiren and Talleyrand come together. Chiren and Talleyrand, a huge coming together there. We saw it just out the corner of our eyes. And that is a crap angle we're getting. But here we go. Homesick Alien got the move done on Chiren. Chiren cut across. Oh, come on. Well, Chiren cut across to get the slipstream, I believe, from Homesick Alien. So there we go. There's Homesick Alien, gets the toe on Chiren. Chiren comes out to get the toe, tries to go back to the racing line, doesn't realise that Talleyrand's there, and then that's it. Contact's made, and it's goodbye Chiren. And I'm sure Talleyrand's been pained by that as well in some way. But yeah, totally innocent, I think, that. Racing. Talleyrand's there in 5th. He lost, he's lost no position. So Talleyrand, and he's got no damage, so it might not be too painful for Talleyrand. He's going for a move on Mrs. Guesty, up and over the hill. And chasing down Homesick Alien, who's now chasing down Skyjacker, whom is chasing down Mayumi, who has made the best of the best thing, and has pulled out a nice distance on the rest of the field. This is the 3rd and final race, and the Homesick Alien in 2nd. Oh no, Skyjacker's gone now. Oh, Sky. And it's that barrier just going onto the bridge. Well, it wasn't quite. He virtually missed it. It's giving him damage though. But Skyjacker having to wait the painful wait for the field to go by before he can get going again. Oh, nearly got hit by Chiren, I think. Why is Shiren down there? And Skyjacker then lets the field through as Jokers gets underway. And Shiren, he was racing, I can't remember where he was racing. Silver Star is in 8th place, fighting with Big Dan, who's fighting with the Dodge Viper. Jim 66 up to 6th now. And he's looking to get a move done on Mrs. Guesty. Sorry, wrong car. Mrs. Guesty moving over to protect the racing line. And no, maybe moving over to say to Jim, come on, I know you're faster than me. Go by. I don't want no trouble. Not looking for trouble, just want to participate. No, she's up for it. Gave him no toe, and then in the corner, give him a little nudge to say, I'm still here. You haven't made the move yet. And Jim, though, now fighting all he can, and Mrs. Guesty looks like she's got off of it, out of the corner. Oh, Mrs. Guesty holding her own up against Jim 66. And he's the toughest as they come. And for some reason backed out of that one and let Silver Star through. And Silver Star says, I'm not bothered, I'll go for it. And now I saw Mrs. Guesty touching a bit of sand there, getting a bit of rubbish on the tyres. And Big Dan now having a look at the Porsche. Oh, someone's just gone absolutely sideways, lads. And it was Jim. Oh, we got crap camera angle. Sorry, Jim, we're going to have to sit on the back of this one. It doesn't look like he was in a close battle with Silver Star. I saw Silver Star was close behind. But this one, oh, just the curb bit him. Nothing could be done about that. That's just one of those horrible things. And it's action-packed, this race. So Shiren, Joker, Skyjacker, Jim's joined the best of the best at the back. Meanwhile, Mayumi leads this race. I say, it feels like it's only just started. We're 7.5 minutes into this race, people. This is crazy, crazy stuff. And fantastical. But Mayumi leads from Homesick Alien with Talleyrand in 3rd. And he's catching up with the Alien. The Baz in 4th in the Nissan, being chased by 5th place Silver Star in the other Nissan. Big Dan's there in 6th, with Mrs. Guesty holding on to 7th. Jim slipping back as we saw him have a spin off the curb in 8th, being caught by Shiren in 9th. Joker's in 10th. And Skyjacker, we saw earlier, having a spin over the bridge, is in 11th, and a cracking race had by all. And we've still got a fair whack of racing to go. And Mayumi must be wondering where everyone went. He must have thought, oh, has anyone logged out? Am I the only one in the lobby? Homesick Alien, though, getting the fastest lap. The last time around, he's there. He can see the Lambo. And we know the Lambo is prone to tyre wearing. Although it's cooler, I think it's in the evening now. So it's cooler track. And the Lambo might look after its tyres. He's not had to race. We know what he's like. He swings around all over the place when he's locked into battle with people. So not in front of him, behind him. When he's behind someone, you know, he likes to swing from one side to another. But there's been none of this in this race. He's had a nice smooth race, no trauma. Keeping it nice and smooth, and the tyres are looking like they're feeling the benefit as we hit the 9-minute mark, and everything's looking good in the Mayumi world. Homesick Alien in 2nd place with Talleyrand in 3rd. Talleyrand does look like he's edging closer to the Alien. He's just taken the fastest lap with a 19.1. Homesick Alien doing a 19.8 last time around, giving up a lot of time to Talleyrand. Tyre wear is exactly the same for the pair of them. Talleyrand really is starting to close that gap on the Alien. Talleyrand finishing ahead of the Alien in the 2 previous races. So Homesick Alien will definitely be wanting to finish this one ahead of Talleyrand. And Talleyrand right there again, going for the move, it seems. Homesick Alien planting his Ferrari in the middle of the road and doing his best impression of Gandalf, saying, "Ye shall not pass." Talleyrand all up and in the tow. It's a tough corner to take the move out, though. We're at 10 minutes. We've only got 5 minutes left of this race. And what a cracking round St. Croix. Always kicks up an absolutely fantastic race, I find. I get excited about St. Croix. Maybe we should do Old Sick Alien. Maybe we should do the next endurance race at one of the St. Croix. Because it's fantastic. The whole field in Ferraris, Group 4s. Or Group 3 and Group 4 Ferraris. So Talleyrand then. Oh, he's now trying to get the move done on the Alien. He's coming down the straight. He's on the inside. It's all about car placement. We saw this earlier, his tactic earlier. And Talleyrand, he's got his nose ahead. And that's Talleyrand in second place. Homesick Alien conceding the position. Has a little knock as Talleyrand gets his way in the corner. But no damage, no harm. Bazza then grabbing fourth place so far. No one there to fight him. Silverstar in a cracking fifth so far. Big Dan, Jimbo is catching him. Remember, he's a slow starter in that Aston Martin. But when it gets going, and look at it, 2.3 seconds faster than he's gone so far in the race. And Big Dan is just the lamb to the slaughter. Jokus then up into 8th place with Shiren 9th, Mrs. Guesty slipping down into 10th, and Skyjacker just way off the rest of the field. And he's just out having a bit of fun in his Honda. Miumi leads Talleyrand then. Talleyrand's got the inside on the Homesick Alien, and it's Talleyrand up ahead. Oh boy, what racing we've had from the two Ferraris this round. It's been absolutely non-stop, fast and frantic all the way. They're like the Vin Diesel and Paul Walker of the VRC world. The Baz, solid 4th place drive so far, cracking stuff. Silverstar not looking to make a threat for the Baz. The Baz does wear his tyres though. We've still got a bit to go. A couple more minutes left in this race, so Barry could shoot his tyres if Silverstar just sticks with it. Big Dan now has the problem of a bit of a train starting up behind the Viper there. It's looking like the butt plug to many a fun evening as Jim and Jokus are starting to get caught up behind, and Jim wants to get the move done earlier. He does not want to deal with the Lambo. He knows the Lambo is rapid and it will easily nip one up the inside of the Aston Martin if he allows it. So Jim knows he needs to get past Big Dan pronto. El Pronte. It's more Spanish. I know loads of Spanish, don't I? So Joker's then catching, and so's the Porsche, and we know the Porsche is a strong finisher. Mrs. Guesty there in 10th, and Skyjacker a little bit off the distance there. Miumi, he just has to bring this one home, I believe. No problems for the Lambo, no heroics, just a nice, solid, steady drive in the Lambo, and the American will have it. Homesick Alien back ahead of Talleyrand. We saw Talleyrand take the move, but it's Homesick Alien who's back ahead. Unbelievable. Homesick Alien's had a nasty knock with the wall, and that surely is going to give away the position to Talleyrand easily. So however Homesick Alien got that position back, he has slung that one right into the wall and away. The Baz too far away to gain from Homesick Alien. It's just a little suspension damage. He'll just have a little understeer for a corner or two, and then he'll be back on it again. And Talleyrand wants to just plant that Ferrari while he can and pull out a bit of distance on the Alien. Bazza then in 4th spot, keeping an eye on his tyre, keeping an eye on Silverstar. Silverstar 23 last time around, Bazza doing a 20, so solid stuff from the Nissan driver Baz. And Silverstar looks like he's scarred. Jim's already got him. No, Dodge. The Dodge Viper and the Aston Martin side by side, and Silverstar's getting sucked into the battle, and it's Silverstar then. Oh, the flags come out yet, but they're nowhere near. So Miumi's leading. Let's get back. Silverstar's in that 5th. No, sorry, who's that? It's the Lambo. Oh, it's Jokus. Jokus is in Big Dan. Oh God, I thought Silverstar was in amongst all that, but he will be soon if he does another 2:23. Right then, Miumi then leads the way. This is crazy racing. And Talleyrand is ahead of Homesick Alien, but Homesick Alien shook off that damage. Then we've got the Baz, and I don't think Tywear's got his woes anymore. I think he's safe from Silverstar, but Silverstar's got Jim, Big Dan, and Jokus all hunting him down, and Shiren in the mix. And Mrs. Guesty keeping that position ahead of Skyjacker, but Skyjacker is chugging along, and Mayumi then still just nearly a third of the lap to go. And Talleyrand, it looks, has Homesick got anything left to come against the other Ferraris? Finished behind Talleyrand in 2 races so far, and he will not be happy about the third. Talleyrand getting purples on his way to the checkered flag, and here comes Mayumi up to the final corner, and it is done and dusted for the Lambo driver. Here he comes. Say his name, say it loud. Mayumi. Great drive from the American. Talleyrand grabs himself second, with Homesick Alien rounding out the podium. Take a boo, my son. And the Bazinator getting himself best of the rest, 4th place. Cracking stuff. Silverstar, highest finish, surely. No, Jim's gone for a move along the line. It's going to be tied between Silverstar. Is it Silverstar? It's Silverstar in 5th, Jim in 6th, but man alive, that was close. Boy, oh boy, that must have been absolutely dead on between Silverstar and Jim when they crossed the line. Unbelievable stuff, but Silverstar keeps the 5th. Jim right on it in 6th, with Jokers coming home in 7th. Big Dan in 8th. Mrs. Guesty heading towards the line ahead of Shiren. Shiren's had a huge one. So Mrs. Guesty getting 9th. Great points indeed for Mrs. Guesty. Skyjacker in 10th, and Shiren, oh, poor Shiren, somewhere he got some damage. Went gun-ho, didn't he? All on the last lap. And came home in last. So there he is. There he is. Look at you, winning. Winner, chicken dinner. So in the chat, here he is. He's in the chat. Look, he's been waiting. He's been silently waiting for this moment before he comments. So Mayumi in the chat saying, I've come late, dude, to F1 qualify. I don't know when it's on. It's been on, hasn't it? I was expecting Sky Plus to have recorded it. And Mayumi saying, I remember seeing this battle in my mirrors, sweating. And Mayumi also saying, Silverstar and Jim had identical times across the line, by the way. That was unbelievable. And Silverstar in the chat saying was 0.000 between us. 0.0%. Fantastic stuff. Well done. Well done, everyone. So Mayumi took an absolutely crazy round and turned it on its head and got himself a great win. Cracking drive. I think he podium. Was it podium in the first race? He might have just missed out on a... No, I think he got... Didn't Skyjacker get the podium? But Mayumi had an absolute corker first race. Terrible second race, but he came back like a phoenix from the flames in the Lambo to take the win. Super stuff. Talleyrand and Homesick Alien, what an entertaining pair they've been this round at St. Croix. Let's just carry on racing Ferraris at St. Croix every round, because these two were on fire. It was lit, bruv, lit. The Baz getting some great points in 4th, with Silverstar also 5th with 0.000 between himself and Jim. Jim, absolutely gallant drive back in every race, I think. He's always on the back foot with the Aston Martin off the line, although this was a rolling start, so I don't know why he arrived late, but he did, and he brought it. Jokus in 7th, and poor Jokus had the machinery today, just the barriers were his enemy. Big Dan did the best he could, I think, with the Dodge. Didn't look like it wanted to go around the corners here. Mrs. Guesty getting probably her highest place this season. Great stuff. 9th place, ahead of the Honda of Skyjacker and the other Porsche of Shiren. Fantastico. So, right, can we take everything off while we finish off? That'd look quite nice, wouldn't it? There you go. Oh, look at that thumbnail. So in the chat then, Mayumi saying, yeah, the Tywear in the second race was awful. I believe it was because of the track temp. Yeah, I said during the stream that it was hotter. It was mid-afternoon, so I think a lot of people struggled because the Nissans really hurt their tyres as well. So that was round 4 of the VRC GT4 Championship. Round 5's in the can, guys. Get excited. And I've also got a VGT, a very wet Fuji, coming your way, maybe over the weekend. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit like if you enjoyed it. Don't. I only say these things because I hear other YouTubers say it, and I think that's what you have to say. But it is a bit cheesy. But let's just not say hit like and subscribe, but just hit like and subscribe without me having to say it. Please. Don't be that guy that I have to ask. What else is there? I was your broadcaster and your commentator this evening, and I was holding a pair. In the chat, Miyumi said it was underwater Fuji lol. I'll have to rewatch this later. See ya. All right, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Yay! And Silverstar saying thingy comes before F1. Ah, bless you. Bless you. So I was your broadcaster and your commentator, holding a pair. Thank you for joining us here at the Virtual Racers Club. You're always welcome. Join our Discord. We're out there somewhere. I think if you click on the About bit, it'll give you links. But yeah, come and join our community. We're a warm bunch. We seriously are. That's it. Oh yeah, there's a VGT race coming up. It's going to be a very soggy Fuji. Thanks for watching. Peace and love. Peace and love.